After the initial credits, we see a shuttle floating gradually through space. Inside is Ripley, Sigourney Weaver, the main survivor from the past film, having gotten away from in the bus of the mining transport Nostromo, which she exploded after a forceful and threatening outsider species was liable for killing her partners. Ripley is still in serene cryogenic lay down with the group's pet feline, Jones, lying on top of her. A vicinity alert goes off. The van is blocked by a rescue vessel. The group, accepting they'll be permitted to rescue an unwanted transport, utilizes a welding light to open the entryway and enters. It is as yet alive to track down that Ripley. In entryway station, a space office circling Earth, Ripley recaptures cognizance in a medical clinic. A medical attendant tells her she is in a clinical narrows. She is visited via Carter Burke, Paul Reiser, a delegate of Weyland-Yutani, the organization from the past film, and Ripley's manager, who brings the feline Jones along. At the point when Ripley states that she doesn't perceive the clinical cove, Burke gives her some horrible news. She has been in hypersleep for a long time, her shuttle having floated through space until the rescue vessel found it by extremely lucky occurrence. Ripley shows clear trouble and uneasiness when Jones begins murmuring at her as she begins to rise in the bed. Burke calls for clinical consideration, and the staff endeavor to control Ripley. She begs them to kill her, prior to pulling her shirt up to uncover something pushing out of her stomach. Ripley unexpectedly awakens straight up in the clinic bed, grasping her chest, uncovering the scene to be a bad dream. A medical caretaker on the screen close to her bed inquires as to whether she wants something to help her rest, yet Ripley declines. The medical caretaker was the one highlighted in her fantasy. The fantasy was a memory from a genuine experience with Burke, aside from the outsider blasting out. Sometime later, Ripley is sitting in a recreated climate hanging tight for Burke, who needs to set up her for a load-up hearing. The organization has begun a proper examination concerning what occurred with the Nostromo, and needs to interrogate Ripley regarding her job and its obliteration. Ripley is just keen on hearing news about her little girl Amanda. Burke reluctantly gives her an image of a more established lady and lets Ripley know that her girl has died from malignant growth while she was floating through space. Crushed, Ripley murmurs that she guaranteed her little girl that she would be back for her 11th birthday celebration prior to going off on the Nostromo. During the request, Ripley frantically attempts to persuade the leading group of the perilous idea of the outsider and the expected danger of the abandoned boat, which actually contains many eggs. She makes sense of that organization approaches at the time provided the Nostromo team requests to acquire the animal, which killed the group and caused the obliteration of the boat. Notwithstanding, the board is very suspicious of Ripley's declaration. Since she concedes to having obliterated the Nostromo and proof of the outsider animal is deficient with regards to, they treat her as though she's deranged. The load-up doesn't squeeze criminal allegations, yet repudiates her flight permit and presents her to mental management. After inquiring as to why nobody will go to the planetoid to affirm her story, Ripley is stunned to discover that the planetoid, presently known as LV-426, has previously been colonized by terraformers for a very long time, who are making a climate to make the air breathable and the planetoid tenable. Sometime from there on, at the Settlement Central Command on LV-426, two organization workers examine as of late gotten organization orders to research a certain unsurveyed part of the outer layer of the planetoid. An assessor is right now finishing the work, contemplating whether he can make a case to anything he finds. The higher positioning man grumbles how they never found a solution to the inquiry why those specific directions were so fascinating, yet guarantees him that anything found can be asserted. Outside on the infertile and blustery planet's surface, the previously mentioned assessor, along with his significant other, child Timmy, and girl Rebecca, whom is classified mute, Carrie Hen, finds a similar forsaken transport recently tracked down by Ripley's team. He and his better half go into research. However, after an extremely extended period of time, the spouse returns and calls for help on the radio. Her significant other is lying on the ground with an animal joined to his face, a facehugger like the one that went after Kane in the past film. Delivered on her own recognizance, Ripley gets a loft at Passage Station. Sometime later, she is visited by Burke, who is joined by Lieutenant Gorman, William Any Expectation of, the Pioneer Marines. Burke lets Ripley know that contact with the province on LV-426 has abruptly been lost. Expecting that outsiders are mindful, the organization means to send a group of Marines. They would like her to act as a counselor, as she has individual involvement in this species. Burke will go along, as the organization co-supported the settlement. Burke knows that Ripley has taken some work on Door Station, running loaders and forklifts, work that is plainly underneath her. As a further motivating force, Weyland-Yutani has consented to re-establish Ripley as a warrant official in the event that she goes. Ripley declines, as she fears returning to where she originally experienced the outsider, and in light of the fact that she's actually disappointed that no one at the organization trusted her prior story. Yet, as her bad dreams proceed, that's what she feels on the off chance that she doesn't go on the mission, she won't ever discover a sense of harmony. She calls Burke, and when he guarantees her that the mission to LV-426 is to destroy any outsiders, not to study or catch them, she surrenders. Jones will stay on the station. A huge warship, the Silico, goes through profound space. Inside are Pioneer Marines drilled by Gorman, joined by Ripley and Burke. Subsequent to arousing from hypersleep, prepared veteran Sergeant Apone, Al Matthews, rapidly assumes control. Ripley finds that a large portion of the Marines are a leg-pulling, unrestrained parcel who mess around and don't appear to treat the outsider danger in a serious way by any stretch of the imagination. One extreme female Marine named Vasquez, Jeanette Goldstein, alludes to Ripley as Snow White, and the Marines appear to have a low assessment of their unpracticed positioning official Gorman, who shows little interest in getting to know his crew individuals. Ripley is likewise daunted to discover that a manufacturer named Priest, Spear Henriksen, is going with them on the mission as their science official. She doubts fabricated materials since her quarrels with debris from the past film. Priest attempts to guarantee her that the new age of counterfeit peoples, as he calls everything, have conduct inhibitors and are accordingly unequipped for harming people. Notwithstanding, Ripley indignantly excuses his endeavors to get to know her. As the Silico approaches LV-426, Ripley informs the Marines concerning her encounters with the outsiders, named Xenomorphs by Gorman, during a mission preparation. However, they are still rather disorderly and laugh at the conceivable danger the animals present. During weapons detail, Ripley continuously starts to intrigue the troopers, proposing to assist them with stacking their outsource and showing her mastery with the enormous power loader, and using pressurized water upgraded suit. Corporal Hicks, Michael Green, takes an exceptional interest in Ripley, dazzled with areas of strength and leading her way with individuals. Taking the outsource from the Silico to the planet, the Marines approve of being dropped into the planet's orbit, which Gorman appears to be offering. He admits that he has barely any involvement in these sort of missions, further sabotaging the assessment the Marines provide. One of the fighters, confidential Hudson, Bill Paxton, is noisily flaunting his mental fortitude and the incomparable capability that they have available to them. The outsource clears the mist and flies over the state, which is an immense man-made structure, yet with practically no apparent movement. Burke makes sense of that the office contains a climate processor intended to make planets appropriate for human existence, and that Weyland-Yutani produces them. The boat lands and sends a heavily clad individual transporter, APC, with the Marines inside prior to taking off once more. The Marines leave the APC and enter the fundamental province in South Entryway. They clear the structure with movement trackers, however find the structure abandoned, save for a couple of research engineers abandoned. The Marines find proof of a furious fight, including a few blockades, hits from little arms to corrosive consumed on the ground, inferring that there were losses among the outsiders too. They close the structure as okay to the presence, which Ripley doesn't accept. Gorman, Burke and Ripley enter the structure. However, Ripley is apparently impacted by dull recollections. In the clinical lab, they at last chance upon proof of Ripley's story, in a progression of balance tube, few facehugger living beings, the bug-like animal that connects itself to the substance of a host. Two of them give off an impression of being as yet alive. Priest finds a record portraying an endeavor to eliminate a facehugger from one of its casualties before it could embed an outsider undeveloped organism. The expulsion brought about the passing of the subject. Ripley and the others make a really surprising revelation. A young lady, around 11 years of age, has endured the outsider attack on the state. She takes off under the floor grinding at seeing the Marines. However, Ripley prevails with regards to winning her trust. She is Rebecca. She's the girl of the assessor family found in the film's start. At first, the young lady is non-open, apparently in shock, yet Ripley in the long run breaks through to her. She refers to herself as Newt, and lets Ripley know that her folks and the others are dead. Everybody has turned into a casualty of the outsiders, and she would feel more secure if she would get back to her concealing spot in the ventilation framework. Ripley guarantees her that she will be more secure with herself and the Marines. The arrogant private,